Right, so as you can see from the title, the focus today is improving traffic management processes within highways and various schemes and maintenance operations. So a trigger for this event was one of the research projects which we received from Highways England Lean Division. And in this project, the sponsor was Highways, and the implementation partner is WSP Parsons Breaking Off. So this event is being held in this context to help us better understand some of the key dynamics of the traffic management processes, some of the key drivers for change, and to engage with a wide range of stakeholders. So a few housekeeping. We begin if possible, cell phones on vibration. Now, I believe Rana has issued you with the Wi-Fi passwords. If you need a password, you can just raise your hand and we will provide you the answer. You can access the Wi-Fi in this Ministry of South Wi-Fi, or if you have mobile internet, that's very good. And we have got two passwords you need to log on. So we intend to use some polling interactivity just to get some quantitative data as to what the audience views are range of issues. So if after logging on the internet, if you can visit this site slide.go, or perhaps you can install this Apple app from your Apple iPhone or Android phone, and again you have to enter this event code 1224, which will allow you to enter into a set of questions which you would like to ask to the day. The facilities, the toilets are upstairs, the gents on the left and the on the right, and we have arranged some lunch and buffet. We have been told it's a Class A buffet, but if you want something more fanciful, we have got restaurants upstairs, the Subway and other restaurants in the main maximum building. Right, so I would like to start with giving a brief overview of the research project and talking about a few things that would set the scene for our discussion in this event. So we have tried to deliberately keep presentations to a minimal, about an hour or so, to allow us more time for group discussions where we see the great value would come into. So we would like to have your insights into a number of different issues. So our perception of the key drivers for effective traffic management right now is managing various operating strategic road network was the push towards minimizing impact on the road user and drivers. So there's a bit of a paradox here, operating at an unprecedented level while keeping the road user impact to a minimal. So how do we go ahead with this? There's a clear drive to improve safety, push towards limiting the length of the motorway road works to allow road users clear passage, reducing motorway queues through areas such as penalties for contractors, need to respond to incidents as soon as possible, ensuring lane availability. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are very experienced traffic management professionals, so we will try to dig more deep into some of these issues slightly later in our proceedings in the way. Now, coming to our research, our focus is primarily to understand traffic management impact investigation, and this event is slightly in that direction to speak to a wide range of stakeholders, trying to understand the drivers, the challenges, and to develop broad awareness of some of the key issues. Secondly, traffic management data needs clarification. So, what data is required? Can I ask those on the back benches, can you hear me clearly? Right, so the second core package is focus on better understanding of the needs identification. So what RTM data needs, how is data collected, how it is stored, how it is analyzed, and how it is used to drive business process improvement. The third core packages focus on TM maturity, model development, and validation. matrix, which may allow us to compare the maturity of different TM implementations and sort of development of guidelines for enhancing traffic management efficiency. So if we take an example of a T-shaped professional, our first two work packages are primarily focused on understanding and gaining some breadth of knowledge. We are speaking to a wide range of stakeholders, doing a few interviews. We have already completed a few interviews to try to get better awareness of some of the key issues. Whereas work package 3 and 4 will slightly delve more deep, and we will be focusing more on the temporary traffic management, primarily the overnight shifts. But in the first two work packages, we are looking into a wide range of issues. Right, so the plan for today is we would have a brief presentation. So as I said, we deliberately try to keep presentations to a minimal, and we have got a few group exercises planned. Now, while planning for the day, we got some inspiration from the lean methodology called Kata. It's promoted by Toyota Motors, and it is a scientific method to drive business process improvement. So there are certain steps in the Kata process. First of all, developing a clear understanding of the direction or challenge. So session 2 will focus in this direction, trying to understand what are the key global factors which are influencing TM, and trying to develop a better understanding of the challenge. The second step is to develop a good understanding of the as-is process of the present condition. So we will be doing some exercises in the session 3, which will be focusing on a better understanding of the existing process, and we will try to draw upon your expertise and your years of experience to better understand the current processes and opportunities for improvement. And last session will be focusing on establishing next target conditions, to identifying possible areas of improvement, possible projects where we can proceed. So we will be working on this method, and after a brief set of presentations which will set the scene for the day, we will be engaging in a few exercises. So in session 2, getting the direction or challenge, we would like to have a panel session. So we have got a list of questions which have come through from our initial set of interviews. So we will like to have your feedback on those questions, and also we would like a panel representing client, service providers, contractors, and possibly some road users. So we will ask for a few volunteers to discuss some of those challenges in more detail. And also we would like to engage in some exercises, so you can see some boards here which would allow us to capture some data around some of the key issues. So we will delve more deep into it. Right, so just to set the scene for the day, I thought I will talk a little bit on some of the key drivers for change. So there are a lot of experts on traffic management, so I am not going to delve deep into the traffic management, but we'll just give an overview of the construction industry, some of the broad challenges which we face, and how does it relate to traffic management. So I will talk about key 10 points in this initial presentation. Before, after you see, I will follow and she will present a perspective from highway engineer on the issues. So I'm not sure if all of you have reviewed Highways England business plan, which was launched in 2015, and it's set out very clearly laid out targets. So this includes things like making the network safer, where the aspiration is to have less than 1,393 people killed or seriously injured by 2020. Improving user satisfaction, storing the smooth flow of traffic, 85 incidents, incidents cleared in 1 hour, 97% availability, encouraging economic growth, delivery of better environmental outcomes, helping cyclists, walkers, and other vulnerable users, achieving real efficiency, target savings of 1.2 billion pounds, and keeping the network in good condition. So that provides some sort of a background and context of our discussions today, and much of our discussions will be focused on how to achieve these delivery targets. Right, so just providing with some of the grand challenges we face within industry as a overall, and how does it relate to our discussion today. The first point I'm going to make is about the need for effective data management. Our industry has often been criticized for poorly managing its data, and without effective data management, we cannot drive any productivity growth, we cannot drive any process improvement. So this is quite important, and I will start by sharing one of the stories from our campus. So this is our campus map. We are right now in Maxwell Lower Hall, which is this building. We are located at the banks of this river. So very nice walk if you have got time. Here, this is our new Adelphi building. So in one of the undergraduate research projects, one of my student Jack, he was looking into Maxwell building as a case study, and he tried to look into how we could improve the environmental performance of this building. So he started by digging deep into some of the data which would be useful to do his analysis. So things like what is the type of high-duty electrical equipment in use, what is the type of HVAC equipment is used, floor plans, details of on-site kitchen, restaurants, yeah. So based on your experiences in public sector, would you reckon the data would be readily available for us to do our analysis and improvements? Okay. So we had a bit of a struggle which went for about 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and after that we got hold of this set of drawings and some data in Excel spreadsheet. To get a long story short, the data which was provided was of no good use. These drawings were from 1950s, 60s, some of them hand-drawn. So basically we had to start from scratch. So the key point here is that collecting effective data is critical to drive any improvement. Sometimes we collect the data which is not very clearly defined, we don't analyze it. So this is a case study from the Presidio Parkway project in California, where they made a good use of technology, first of all, to capture good data, then making good use of modern day tools such as BIM to allow for good communication, very good data sharing between different teams, allowing to build this 5D model where cost and time are integrated. This allows a better control of the overall process, and so I think when we talk about the traffic management process today, we will be focusing slightly more in one of the exercises into what are the data sets, in which format are those data sets available, are these readily available to make use and to drive process improvement. So that is one of the key points I wanted to make. The second thing is the importance to speak the same language. Now, within our industry, we are often criticized for being multilingual or speaking different languages. By that, what is meant is that different people involved in different stages in the life cycle speak a very different language, which is alien to the people who are working downstream. So if we look at the design team, they speak a language which is very heavy in the graphics. So they speak a language of BIM, they speak a language of CAD. Attribute data at the initial stages are not so important. It is, but not to a level. But as things go into the implementation phase, we see the attribute data becoming much more important. We want to see how things are being put together, what is the sequence, and the graphics slightly become less important because now we are clear about the geometry, how things are being put together. And as you further move into the operations and maintenance stage, the attribute data, the historical data, how things have performed over time becomes much more important. Now, people involved in different phases have got their different software tools, they have got their own linguistics, they have got their own terminologies, which create a bit of a communication issue. So it is quite important to speak the same language so that we have got a consistent approach. The third key point I'm going to make here is that our industry is often criticized for the reason that we do not involve the people who have to implement the building. So those who are actually realizing the project, those who are putting it together, are not involved in major decision making when we are talking about what has to be designed or how it has to be designed or who has to design it. Their involvement starts quite a little bit late in the life cycle. So we are seeing a bit of a push within our industry to change this and to get those who are involved in the realization slightly earlier in the life cycle. So this is a famous line of influence diagram which basically indicates if you have got the life cycle timeline on the x-axis and the ability to influence, you will see that that this line over here indicates that when the design is live, your ability to influence anything is maximum, because we are just playing with the sheets. The design is live. So the point here is that a lot of thinking should be done here. This is the cost of changes. So the cost of changes in the early stages is minimal, but as we progress in the life cycle and into the construction and into the operation,